everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy, and as usual, I have a fabulous panel. We have Shelley Murphy, our family tree girl. Hey, Shelley.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. It's been a few weeks since you've been able to work out your schedule and be with us, so I'm really glad you're here.
Thank you.
And we have Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Cheri.
Good to have you as well.
Good to be here.
We have Dan Earl, our family history guy. Hi, Dan. We have Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Hi, Laura.
Hey, everybody.
And last but certainly not least, we have Melissa Barker, our archive lady. Hi, Melissa.
Hi, everybody.
Well, the purpose and intent of our show tonight is to talk about relative race day 9. I can't believe we've made it to day 9.
But don't you think it went fast?
It went really fast.
I mean, really fast.
Yes, it went really, really fast this season. But before we get talking about it, I just want to make a special announcement real quick. Normally, when we get to day 10, or at any time during the season, when somebody gets that third strike, they come on the show. So, of course, you know, you guys all know, because hopefully, you know, this is not a surprise. Team Blue, our twins, our boys got that third strike last night, and we really wanted to have them on, and they wanted to be on, but their schedules didn't coincide with our schedule. So we will be filming an extra special GenFriends this weekend, and we hope to have it out Monday morning so that you can see it before day 10. So anyway, we'll still talk a little bit about them, but
wait, day 10 starts on
Sunday, so then we will record about day 10 on Monday night.
Oh, I see.
Before we talk about day 10.
And then ours will air Wednesday.
That's right, and that will air Wednesday. So just wanted to let you know that we will be talking to Anthony and Joseph about their experiences with the race and their journey. So watch for that coming up the beginning of next week. So with that in mind, as we start day 10, there is a lot of stress going on because they've all got a second strike. And so they all know that this is really important, but they all know they get to meet that last relative. And so, you know, they're going into the race with that knowing, oh gosh, I could go home today, but how wonderful I get to meet this last relative they have for me. So I thought that was really, really wonderful. Yes, Laura.
Question. So at one point, Team Red had immunity, and they came in first that night. If they had if they'd come in last with immunity, would we have had a scenario where all 4 teams could make it to day 10, or would have they chosen the next to last team?
The next last.
Oh,
yeah.
In the past, that's what they've done anyway. Because I know, on Sunday night I said at Relative Race, I was on Twitter and I said, what about sometime you surprise us all and just let them all go I'll go to day 4, and then they didn't do it.
We could call it the Cheri surprise.
Exactly. Please let them all. Wouldn't that be fun if some scenario could work out?
I kind of hoped for that this time. I wanted all 4 to go. I really did.
All 4 to go.
Even though I was rooting for one team, but it would have been because they all made it to day 9.
Absolutely. I just, that's only happened. I think this is the second time since the first, and it's the first time that all 4 of the teams had 2 strikes going into day 9. So before, each of them had something, but not all of them had 2. So Laura?
Yeah. Wasn't this season probably more on looking for the biological family too compared to the past season? Seems like there was more this time than others.
As a matter of fact, they are actually, that's what they're looking for in their casting right now. They are looking for people that are looking for biological parents. Not to say that, like what they did last night, and Sean was able to find a cousin, and, they've been able to do those kind of things. But right now, and for y'all that are watching that want to get on the show or have a desire, they're actually starting to cast for season 9. So that's exciting to know that they're getting ready to record 8. They're getting ready to get out on the road to do that.
Yeah.
But they are actually, you can go to relativerace.com and they will have links to go and sign up and see if you can get chosen to participate and be one of the teams. So that would be really fun. But yeah, so that's what they're really looking for right now is they're looking for people looking for, they look for a good story, a really good story.
Yeah.
And people that are personable, people that'll do well on camera. Because I mean, you may have a really great story, but when they go to film you, it doesn't make very good TV. So.
Which was interesting again for this season with the war paint.
Yes. Okay.
There was a little feedback on that.
Yeah.
And throughout Twitter and stuff.
So as they get started out in day 9, we've got Team Green, who, because they came in first on day 8, they've got an advantage in the challenge. We don't know when they start what it is, but they know that they've got an advantage. They talked to Team Black, and Team Black talked about what they wanted to do with the money, which I thought, Laura.
It was wonderful.
Yeah.
It is, although it really is heartbreaking. You can just look at them, they'll be great parents. And you think of, and I know from my sister, how expensive it is to go through an adoption of a single child, much less multiple. So, I even sent them a note on Twitter, like, whether you win or not, you're going to go fund me, or you guys would make great parents.
Exactly.
Wait, which parents? Because Team Black had 3 kids.
It's Team Black that they want to.
Oh, they already have 3 kids?
They have 3 kids.
They still want to adopt. Well, I thought they,
okay.
I didn't realize they had 3 kids, and
they had 3 kids.
So and I don't know if they adopted those. They haven't said.
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw her video.
People watching.
She did.
Yeah. So for people watching, just so you know, if you don't know this, if you adopt through foster care, it's free because the state will pay for all that. They want these children to find homes. Now it's hard because you've got to jump through all the hoops and hope that the children that you're wanting to adopt, the parental ties are severed so that you can adopt them. So it can be years in the making. But going through a regular adoption agency is extremely, extremely expensive too. So, my heart goes out to anybody that's trying to adopt. So I just thought that was wonderful, though, that's what they said that they wanted to do with that money. And so,
well, we haven't heard from anybody else what they want to do with
No, and they may have something just as wonderful that they want to do with it. So. Gosh, I felt so bad for Devin when Team Red gets flying at you. They get their text, they jump in the car, and they have been sandwiched in.
That was awful.
Oh, I thought he could have been a little more aggressive with the backing up and going.
Well, you can't scratch the relative race car now.
I know, but he had a foot.
He was probably worried about that. What kind of penalty will I get?
I thought it was hilarious.
He probably had a producer in his ear saying,
"That's everybody that complains about a woman's driving and a woman's parking." He got between those 2 cars, and it wasn't his own car, and having the maneuvers. So I thought it was funny.
I thought it was worse when they got behind that truck.
Oh gosh!
Of course, that's when the truck's going to go park in that narrow street.
And you can't get through. But I love that she got out of the car and she said, "We're on a TV show."
Yeah.
Now is not the time.
Go Lions.
I think all the teams had trouble with traffic last night.
Oh yeah, traffic lights.
Yeah.
Not being able to find the houses, the GPS. I know that the boys on Team Blue, they were behind that. They were everybody was in the wrong places and having a really, really difficult time. And I think a lot of that may have been the stress of knowing we've got to hurry up so we don't get that strike.
Yeah.
And there was a little bit more bickering with everybody in the cars,
Yeah, everybody was on edge, I think.
Well, what I thought was interesting with Team Green, and they may have changed the house numbers and all that, but it was like 7077, but it looked like 7 or whatever, 607.
Yeah.
The last 2 digits, you couldn't really tell if they were 1s or 7.
Yeah.
And we were sitting there saying, what if this is the wrong house? That'd be entertaining.
I wonder if they pulled into the wrong house, if a producer would say, wrong house, because I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's a good question.
So, how are we related?
Who are you?
I don't know.
I don't know. Who are you and what?
Temperature of the country right now, and you run up and say, "Who do you relate to?"
That's true. There are neighborhoods that just would not work out.
No,
You
it wouldn't
do
work.
that.
So anyway, yeah. Let's talk a little bit.
Well, I want to say
Oh, go
one
ahead.
thing because we're on this part about them getting in and leaving from their journey last night. One thing that really, I mean, I could not believe they did. We talked about before we got on the show about Blue Team not having their luggage in their vehicle.
I was going to kill them.
I know. But then as they're gathering everything together, did you see how they just grabbed that map and crumpled it all up? And I thought, how are you going to see anything on the map
They're
like that?
27, 28.
I know.
I didn't notice that. I did notice like the suitcase. There's stuff coming out.
See,
And all of us
that
who
would
are-
have been the first thing in the morning.
And all of
Yeah.
us that
For
are
all of the
parents,
teams,
you know,
they should have packed and put them right in there.
Exactly. I think they were just so overwhelmed. I
Yeah.
think
Oh,
that
yeah.
was
Oh,
part of
yeah.
it. But let's talk before we get into who they met. Let's talk real quick about the challenge.
oh,
That would be, like we keep saying, can you imagine doing that at a family reunion? That would be hysterically funny.
that would be hilarious.
That would be hilarious. So it was,
That would have been funny.
what was it called? Dodger? I wrote it down. I can't remember.
Dodge.
Dodge or something. Dodge.
Something.
Anytime you make people wear flippers on land, it's fun.
Done.
And Karen, a fish
Dodgy
bowl,
divers.
a fish and a fish
That's
bowl.
it. That's
Yeah.
it, Mary.
Yep.
There you go,
Who
Mary.
comes
Thank
up
you.
with that? I know they had the
They have a
folks that
team.
came on.
They have a team that comes up with,
Yeah.
with their challenges,
We
but
should come
Those
up
are
with a
work people.
challenge. and
we
submit it.
should come up with one.
We
and
should
submit it.
come
We
up with a
should.
challenge for them for next year,
Exactly.
the year after.
Identify the Gen friend.
That'd be good.
That would be great.
Well,
That would be
I know
hysterical.
every week I tell you that a story. My husband, I don't watch the show, but he's sitting there and he's watching the show.
Right.
So they put on those flippers, and my husband was trained in scuba diving,
Oh.
and so he sees them put on the flippers, and he goes, "Oh, walk backwards, walk backwards. You need to walk backwards. That's the best way to walk backwards." But they couldn't walk backwards; they were kind of walking sideways, you know.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah.
Well,
Well, do
anybody
you
want to
remember?
explain the challenge real quick, Mary? Do you want to explain the challenge or no? Well, whoever.
Yeah, so they had a fish bowl. They had to get a fish, and then they had to go through an obstacle course. They either had to duck under something or step
Mhm.
over something. First round, they were just both teammates were wearing flippers, and then for the next two rounds, one of them had to wear a blackout mask as well. So it made it a little bit more challenging.
Exactly.
But they had to balance this thing on a like a ship's wheel,
right.
and they couldn't hold the bowl. So if it tipped
You remember
over,
when the
they
fish
lost the
flopped
fish,
out?
whatever. But I will tell you, when they were talking about fish, I mean, of course, I'm thinking live fish. There's like, they can't be using live fish on that. No, they were just plastic fish.
Just
And the
fun.
camera went right down.
What I
Very
thought
close.
was,
Went on the ground.
But if they
Flap,
dropped
flap, flap.
it, they had to go back to the beginning.
Right,
So
Did you notice on the bowl they had a line that if the water got below that line, you had to go get more water. But those fish, I mean, all the time my daughter's growing up, we'd get fish and we'd kill fish. But I saw those little plastic fish that moved, and I thought, oh, I want some of those fish. I can't kill those.
much easier to keep alive, right? Right. So-
it was
so-
hilarious with Liz and her husband because she was trying to say lower, but she kept saying drop the bowl, and he's like, do what?
That was
Because that was too
hilarious.
high for her, and she couldn't get a
She
deep breath.
went lower, and she kept saying drop it, drop it. And he's like, no.
Uh-huh.
I'm not dropping it. Yeah, that was hysterical.
Can any of us see us and our spouses doing the exact same thing? You know?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially when you're trying to hurry, when you're stressed,
Yes.
Yeah.
when you got a blindfold on, when you know all those things.
When you're
Oh,
exhausted after,
exhausted.
9 nights of no sleep and
exactly. And
yeah.
emotional from all the relatives that you've met. Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely.
not knowing who's coming up.
Right.
And it was day 9 at that. That's going to be
Exactly.
the last relative.
Yeah.
Well, and those
exactly.
blackout goggles, I mean, you would get so disoriented, I would think.
Mhm,
You have
mhm.
no
Yeah.
frame of reference of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. But I have to say,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they're connected with each other, but they were just switching out that black mask. And I'm thinking, I'm not putting on a mask that you just wore.
No.
Oh, I think
that didn't even occur to me.
it was just husband and wife though. They weren't in the same
It's the
place.
Megan and Monica. I don't know.
Well,
I guess I
Well, they've
get
been in
my
the car
husband's
together.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
They've been in the car together
Yeah.
for so long. It probably doesn't matter.
Still.
But I know
But
what
them,
you're
maybe
saying.
Don't they also work together?
Yeah.
Isn't that
I think
how
so,
they
yeah.
met?
I kind of see your point.
Yeah, I see your point too.
Give them
Yeah.
2 masks.
Yeah, give them 2 masks. Yeah, that's too funny.
Oh,
But Team Green, speaking of Megan and Monica, so they get the advantage. And so
Yeah.
their advantage is because what they were doing was stepping over or under oars that were
Yeah.
on the platform. And so they got to choose which one they wanted to remove. They could remove an obstacle. So they were very smart. And they did the one that you had to step over because
Step over.
it's easier
Yeah,
to
because
just,
there was an under and
under.
an over in that
Yeah.
one, and they would have had to do
they could have,
both.
yeah, they would have had
Yeah.
to, yeah. So they took that one off. I thought that was really smart to take
Yeah.
a few minutes and see which one would be the hardest to do and remove that obstacle. Now, I just want to talk for a couple of minutes because I know that people have been talking about Team Blue and doing this obstacle course, and we will talk more to them when we have them on as our special guests this weekend about if people thought it was fair for them to be able to do this obstacle course. And I would really like to ask them how they felt about it. But I was talking to the panel before, and this is my opinion. I don't know. I don't know. But I almost feel like if they had asked Joseph, do you want to do something different? I think he would have said, no, give me the same challenge you're giving everybody else, just because of
I agree.
because of the way they have been throughout the
But it
show,
was-
Mary.
Yeah.
Well, and my thought was they haven't allotted time to do the
Mhm.
challenge and to get from point A to point B.
Right.
And we don't know what part of it is to do the challenge and whether they think
Exactly.
the challenge is an 8-minute or a 15-minute
Right.
challenge, and
Yep.
whether when they scheduled it,
Mhm.
they built in the producers
may-
built
and-
in
and they
any
may
extra
have.
time on that. That
Right.
was something
Well,
That's
all
a
I
good
have
point.
to say is they accomplished it.
They accomplished it. They worked together.
Regardless of how I felt
Right.
as a mama, they accomplished that task.
Exactly. Another
Yeah.
point, real quick, Mary, and then I'll turn it back over to you. Another point I wanted to say too is there's a penalty if you don't get it done within your allotted amount of time. They didn't receive a penalty, so they got it done
Well,
in the
okay.
time that they were asked to do it. They were able to
Wait.
get it done.
have we seen any penalties this season?
We
on
have on
the-
other seasons. We have on other seasons.
don't
where
think
they
they
just
have
couldn't get
us-
anything. Yeah, but they haven't. But they do. They have a certain amount of time that they give them, and if they don't get it done, it's a time penalty. And so I think they would have.
Remember the one
I'm
couple
not sure
left?
they did that this season because even
Yeah,
though
remember
you
that
had
one couple few seasons ago on the
No,
challenges, they just
They just
they're
sat it
done.
out. They just sat it out. And
right,
so-
but this season, I know we've had times when Dan has said, so and so, you've really struggled with the challenge,
Mhm.
but there was no talk of penalties or anything.
Well, I don't think anybody got a penalty. I don't think anybody did because they do give them a lot of time to be able to do the challenge. And if they
The
don't,
challenge
yeah.
decides to drive.
right, it's all they get a different amount of times. Mary, what were you going to say? You were going to.
Well, and I just it was interesting because the way Team Blue had to hold the ship's wheel with the thing on
Yes.
it, and they
Mhm.
figured out an accommodation because
Exactly.
Joseph doesn't have the
Mhm.
hand strength or capability that he would have
Right.
needed. So they figured out a way to do it. And
Yep.
those guys just know how to work together.
Together.
They are just
Yeah.
really
They've been there
like that.
since birth.
Mm.
It was,
exactly.
and he acknowledged that,
Yeah.
about Joe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
I gotta say, when
Yeah,
we get
go
when they got out of the car, Anthony got out of the car
Mhm.
and he knew who he was
Mhm.
looking at.
He
Mhm.
knew.
Yeah.
He knew. You could see
He
it on his
knew.
face, and
Yeah.
he just could not wait till Joseph got around the corner and
Yeah.
he didn't say anything. But you could just see.
You could see
Yeah,
it. And you know
every-
they were
How did
hoping.
y'all feel about what he said to his mom?
What,
Both
what,
of them
which-
said to the mom.
what?
That they
They
loved her.
said- So they said so much. They were just
Yeah,
supporting
no.
her and
But they just said, basically, we're here for you now, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And love. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
they were very gentle, very, very
it was
gentle
just,
with
and
her.
they knew.
Yeah.
Auntie prepared them.
Yes. Yeah. I
And
think
he
That's what I
prepared
think too.
right. I think they were very well prepared
I think the brother Daniel prepared them as well, because he had said he had lived with her for a year or two.
Oh, that's right.
And
so I think they knew a lot about her that we didn't see, which we shouldn't have seen.
We couldn't have seen. We don't need to know.
I was very, very, very surprised that we even saw her, knowing what she had been through and her probably disabilities that she's had. And so
and still has.
Still has. And so I was surprised that we even saw her. I thought that meeting might come privately.
I did too.
And so
the one thing that, yes, it was sweet. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, the one thing that we do know from talking to other team members, from talking to Dan, from talking to other people that work on the show that have come on as our guests, it's very important to them to not have that Maury Povich kind of moment.
Yes.
So they would have never filmed this if they thought in any way, shape, or form it was going to harm their biological mother in any way. They would
or them.
Exactly.
That's one thing I really like about this show is that they seem to go out of their way to make it respectful.
Yes.
You know, and like you said, not to make it a spectacle.
Right.
Okay, but I'm not going to compare it to Maury Povich, but if there were a team that got kind of in that realm last night, it was Team Green.
Oh, that was cool.
Surprise!
I know.
Except for they both had known. They knew ahead of time that they had sisters. They just didn't know that they were going to meet.
No, they just didn't know that they were going to meet. I know.
Wasn't that cool?
But Monica didn't know that they didn't know.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But at the same time, like I said, that I'm not. Oh, I know you're not
trashing it.
Oh no, I know you're not. I know you're not. But
there was a lot to unpack there with Team Green.
There was.
When Team Green comes on, you know, and unless it comes out, I want to talk to them about, because like what Laura just said, that they knew but they hadn't met. Well, I wanted to know, when did they find out? I guess during the process.
Probably during the process, because it was
I think
DNA.
We never contacted. Remember?
Yeah, it was the DNA
that came up before.
Okay, what was the aunt's name?
Shelley.
Of course it's Shelley. She's like such a wonderful aunt. But she said something like it all started when a grandchild decided to get her DNA tested.
Yeah. And if she hadn't done that, they would not have found that connection.
I think for Shelley, that's where the whole finding out about the sister occurred.
Yes.
But I'm still really curious what scenario led to that.
Yeah, exactly. And
not knowing about each other.
Well, but look at Team Red's dad.
Yeah.
He had no idea.
He had no idea
that was something that happened back at college.
Yeah.
Right.
And I love that picture of all four of the kids.
Oh, I love that. That was such a great gift.
And then the bracelet, her sister also gave her the bracelets before they left on day 9. And so, you know, big sister, little sister.
And they're not that far from each other.
Yeah, it was the Big Dipper, Little Dipper is what she gave them. So big sister, little sister. It was so sweet and so cute. But I love it when, because a team has applied to the show and gotten on the show and are meeting other relatives, then it's the first they've ever met in the family. I mean, we've seen that season after season, that somehow other people get connected. And so it's a ripple effect. As family is meeting family, is then meeting family. I don't know about family. So it's more,
you know, cry.
Of course.
The sisters.
Yes.
Did y'all cry when they started running? I just said,
the show just makes me cry all the time. So.
Those two sisters. I thought you meant Monica's mom and her sister.
I'm talking about Red.
Yeah.
The Red team. Yeah,
that was, and you knew that was her sister.
Oh,
and they just started hauling.
Yeah. So we had,
it was close to them. That was, and her daughters were there. So
that was just so great.
Yeah, back to Team Green last night. So I really was impressed with her Aunt Shelley. I thought that they've all been very warm to the contestants, but she was especially warm.
Yeah.
I thought, oh wow. And then to find out, as we were talking beforehand, Melissa, the whole DNA unraveling and connecting, and for Monica discovered that she was the catalyst for these sisters to find out about each other and get together.
And
that's got to be humbling.
And I'm glad they said that.
Right.
You know, that just added more flavor onto the show.
Exactly. And how cool that they brought Robin to meet Shelley.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that in other seasons too, where all of a sudden the relative that you saw the week or two before is suddenly there meeting a relative that they didn't know about.
Now, did you believe that it happened as abruptly as a text from Dan saying you need to get to Lincoln?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Right.
When he pulled that, no warning.
May have been.
It was.
I think who Monica's friend? I can never remember her name.
Megan.
I think Megan knew. I don't know if Monica knew, but I think Megan knew.
She may have. She may have.
But what I liked is what Monica said. You know, Monica talked about the fact that she never thought about, you know, because it was her going through this process, but she never thought about helping others.
Right.
And I think as genealogists, we do that as well. I think, you know, we're in it to find our own families, but I think a lot of times we, you know, make other connections as well, or help to make other connections.
Over and over and over.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So then we've got Sean.
I think Mary wanted to say something.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Mary, go ahead. No.
You know, I mean, that is such a real thing. I helped a good friend find his biological mother, but he had some cousins, 2 women that were adopted, and they got to meet their grandparents because of the DNA connections that I was able to put together.
Wonderful.
It was really, you know, so satisfying.
That's wonderful. That's so great. Let's move on for a minute to Team Black, and Sean, here he goes, finding more cousins. You could tell he was kind of shocked. I think when they went up, he really thought it was going to be another relative of his wife's, of Casey's. And so I think he was quite shocked to think, oh my gosh, they found another cousin for me. So yeah. So I thought that was really great.
Was cool. That was cool.
It was really cool because the pictures, guys, that tintype. And I love you wearing gloves.
They put on gloves.
Exactly. I thought that was great.
They knew if they didn't, Melissa would jump through the TV screen.
I would.
Especially
across the United States, and Melissa's leading the charge with her gloves.
Oh, I've seen, it's not finding your past. What was that?
It's finding your roots.
Or who do you think
you are? I have seen them handle all records without gloves, and I'm just
Melissa, isn't there, and to Laura's point of that, isn't there some in the archival world, aren't there some saying don't wear gloves because
gloves in the archives world is kind of like eggs. You know, eggs are good this year, they're not good next year. They have settled on the fact that gloves are only good for handling photographs.
Okay, all right.
The reason being is because when you're wearing gloves, you lose the tactile sensation of feelings in your hands.
Yep.
And so if you're handling documents, you can actually damage documents from having gloves on.
Right.
If you handle them with bare hands, then you can feel how you're touching them, and then you may not, damage them. But I think a lot of times for show or for certain things, they'll put on gloves.
Yeah.
See, and I always thought it was just to convince the researcher that this is really valuable and you have to go really carefully. I'm not going to just hand you this book.
Yeah.
If you go into any archives workroom, unless we're working with photographs, we don't wear gloves.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, you were topic of discussion today at Mondays with Mert, because the archive lady, and talking about the boxes, and Mert went right in, and first she was looking for you.
I was at work.
But it's interesting you think about that, because we watch all these different shows, and I haven't seen anything that's consistent. But now
that's why I was
just doing it with the photographs.
Yeah.
It kind of makes sense in one thing, but then when I think about those really old documents in the 16 and 1700, sometimes they're not wearing gloves. And that makes me nervous, because we have oils that they didn't have back then. But
that's
then
true.
Again, they did.
But you don't want to
you know, we
handle
got
something you can't
chemicals.
feel.
Right. So that
Because
makes
you might
sense too,
handle
right?
it incorrectly.
And you've washed your hands. I mean, how many times a day at the archives do you wash your hands?
A lot.
Melissa?
A
A
lot.
lot.
So,
Mhm.
so you are trying to
You're getting
get
that
rid of
off.
the oils.
We-
Okay, but back to Sean. What I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
What I thought was interesting, I mean, at first you might think, oh, a second, a third cousin, that's not that close. But honestly, I don't think I know any of my second cousins. On my dad's side,
Mhm.
because he was the only child, there were no first cousins. And because his mom claimed that she was adopted when she wasn't, there was no second cousins or anybody else.
Right.
And then on my mom's side, there were so many of us first cousins. You just didn't have the capacity to go out and find any second cousins. So I kind of thought it was cool to follow that tree, that line up and come back down.
Does
and
third
realize
cousins share second great grandparent?
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
what they were
gonna say.
talking about.
Yeah,
always
that's what I
put
was
numbers
going
on
to
that.
say.
Great. You count the G's. Great
Mhm.
great grandparents.
Right.
3 G's. Third
Exactly.
cousins.
Right. And so here's the thing. That is a perfect example why we need to reach out to those people on our family trees, because they may be the ones that have the pictures or the family
I
Bible.
know.
Yes.
And
And
I
that's,
don't have
that's why
pictures.
we need
Bag
to
of live
reach
one.
Bag in the
That's
live one, right, Mary?
That's why I encourage genealogists to research more than just their straight line.
Yes.
I research anybody and everybody that's connected to my family, because you
Oh, yeah.
never know who's going to have
Yep.
the records.
Exactly. So don't poo-poo those second, third
Could be
cousins.
the aunt, and she's the house repository. She's got everything.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I did through the internet meet my dad's cousin, I guess once removed.
Mhm.
And they did have pictures of my grandmother growing
Yeah.
up with her siblings, which
Yes.
didn't exist because she'd been adopted. So yeah, exactly that's how you find the pictures.
Yeah. Mary, you were going to say
But
something?
it's not just, I mean, Melissa says you never know who's going to be the pictures. And I'll say, when I first started bagging a live one, it was all about me. I wanted them to have the stuff to tell me the stories. But I have so much found out that I know stuff that I can share with people.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's a gift
Absolutely.
that I get to give to people.
Exactly. I love that.
Share stuff they
The,
didn't know.
the
so.
perfect story about this particular scenario is I was trying to find my husband's great 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 aunt. I could, and so, I couldn't figure out where she had gone, where she died, and so I thought, okay, wait a minute, I could not find anything, so I'm going to research her children and all of her children's spouses along the way.
Oh boy.
And so she had 5 male sons along with daughters. It was back then when they had all kinds of kids. And if I didn't know what I knew at the beginning, I'd have started with the last son, but I didn't. I started with the top and the oldest.
Of course.
All of her sons had all been married at least 5 times each. And so I researched every wife, and I got to the last son, the last wife, and I connected with the living relative of that ex-wife.
Oh my God.
That living relative had a trunk full of records and photographs that belonged to the Moran family, who was my husband's. It was an ex-wife. And I said, where did you get this trunk? And they said, we've been passing it down in the family for over 100 years. And it didn't even belong to their family.
But they kept it.
But they
kept it.
That's
They kept it.
fabulous.
Well, did she have children by the ex-husband?
Yes.
That's why women
children's
men
legacy.
do that.
But everything that was in the trunk didn't belong to the wife's family. It belonged to her ex-husband's family.
Correct.
But
Wow.
of course, with
That's a great,
descendants. Yeah.
that's a great example. And so I know sometimes people will say, oh, all they've met is this person. Well, that person gave them a lot of information, you know, a lot of information. So
absolutely.
Did we get through all 4 teams? No, Devin. We didn't talk about Devin.
Oh yeah.
Sorry,
Devin.
I got distracted
Yeah,
by
sorry, Devin.
Melissa's aunt and all the kids with divorces and the multiple exes.
Anybody want to go forward with Devin and who he met? It was really cool.
He met his third cousin.
Yeah, another cousin.
Well,
Yeah.
2.
Well, yes, there were
Well,
2
two.
Brothers and
There were
sisters.
2.
They were
Yeah.
brother
Yeah,
and sister.
brother
Yeah.
and
The
sister.
girl. Yeah.
And it was so very touching.
It was.
Devin was so touched by,
Yes. What I loved when he looked across at his cousin's face, the female cousin, and said, You've got their eyes. You've got my grandmother's eyes and my biological mom's eyes. You know, you're connected through those eyes. And I thought, oh, that got me. That got me.
I'm sad on his part. And again, you don't know what else would have been there for them,
or what will come.
What will come. Mm-hmm.
What will come after. Because remember, he made the point, which I thought was so good. No matter what the boys, do you remember him saying that no matter what, he was going to help them?
Yeah.
you know, but I feel one little part that I kind of didn't like, but even though it's a real fact, and that was about his bio dad, that they had it down to 2 brothers,
and
not knowing which one. I kind of didn't like that a little. I don't know how else they could have said it,
but
I didn't like that.
But it's true to life. It's what happens.
I kind of agree with Cheri on that. I mean, I think it's good for them to, and when I say them, I mean relative race, to kind of show the breadth of what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
You can find your biological parent, or you can hit a brick wall.
Exactly.
You know, we all got them.
Yep. You never know.
And you may have to come to,
grips
make peace with not knowing.
Yeah, and he has.
I think he's a great example of that.
He's settled with who he had met, but he's not done with the journey.
Right. And it's very possible that there's some other pieces of information. It's like they'll tell you sometimes we get a really good story and we find relatives, but they don't want to participate. So it's very possible that they found his
it's possible, but it's also possible that he's still got a sense of what, even though he doesn't know which of the brothers, he knows what family, he knows what roots, he knows the backstories.
Yes, he does.
And I think that is a solace.
I agree with you. And he really just seems to, I don't know, he's just very okay with it. You know, his whole,
a cool dude.
A couple of weeks ago when he said, look, even if I don't ever know, the father that raised me is the father that raised me.
That was, he made so many sacrifices.
Exactly.
That was beautiful.
His head's in a good space. And I liked that.
And he was so happy for his wife.
Oh my gosh. He was so happy every time for her, for her. So
I don't know. He's just kind of like what you hope when you're raising a little boy, you're like, I want him to grow up to be like that guy.
Or the little girls.
Yeah, exactly. You want him to be just like them. Yeah, it was so good. Let's talk real quick before we have to go about results. Now we know that somebody was going to have to get that 3rd strike. We know that somebody was going to win, and whoever won got tickets, airline tickets. And they'll be able to go back and choose a relative. And I thought, what? I don't remember.
Back and visit one.
Anybody that they wanted. Mary, you were going to say something?
I was wrong. I'm thinking what I was thinking. So never mind. Never mind.
Well, who would you think each of them, if you had to?
Who would they visit?
Say who would go see who?
I think Monica would go see her biological mom. I think that, what do you guys think? I think, well, of course, Liz is going to go see her dad and her siblings again. They're going to meet somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is just a wild guess. My guess is Monica's going to fly Megan somewhere to see family, because Megan went for that her life on hold.
That's a question I have. That's a question I have. Okay, because day 10 now is going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
Are they done with seeing all the relatives? Will they 10 include? Okay, so I was really, I don't know why, but I was really hoping that they would find somebody for Megan.
I did too.
I did too.
God. But it was such at the end. I mean, she came in right at the end because Monica's partner couldn't do it, right?
Oh, and I think so too. I think she.
Yeah,
and
right.
so
they
really
hadn't had time to do all that research. I mean,
I think you're right. I think she did step in. But I could see too, if I was going to go with a friend who was doing this, I would say, please just work on their line, just let her have all these moments. They really
hadn't been together that long.
I would feel like, oh, this should have been her day again. She's the one that needs to find all these people. So I don't know. That's just me. But so anyway, so we go, of course, every time that music starts, and
I know.
I saw it. Yeah.
the results, and
I was on the edge of my seat.
I know. And
Yeah.
Dan is asking them who they found, and everybody's cheering everybody on, and yay, that's so great. When the boys turned that camera and told everybody that they found their mom, did you see the tears?
Yes.
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 Yep.
That made me
Lisa's
think that
reaction,
they're getting to have longer conversations than just the quick Zoom call.
Yeah, I think so.
Because and I think they said
Yeah.
we've connected so much. I think there must have been some
Something.
ability for them to interact other than that
Maybe.
short part that we see. Oh, here's our mom,
Yeah.
and let's
Yeah.
hear
yeah.
who's sent home.
Yeah, because they
And
can only.
even at the challenge, Liz said, I so worry about Joseph.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, she did say that. Dan, were you going to say something about the emotion? You started it, but maybe that was all you're going to.
Oh, no.
Okay. It was something you could just.
Well, then-
see it. You could just see it, Laura.
No, poor Dan can't get a word in
I was
edgewise.
thinking
Yeah.
the same thing.
I know.
He's used to it.
Just jump in there, Dan, at any time. Just tell us to hush because you want to say something. Dan, do you want to tell us about who won day 9?
Sure. I'm trying to remember because I'm just all like, I was
3 of the teams won day 9. There
Right.
you go.
3 of
I
them
just
won
gave
day
you
9,
your
and the team
out.
that I really
there,
wanted
please.
to not, like, I was secretly hoping that Team Red would just have looked into the camera and be like, no, these guys need the money, like,
Oh.
and like that. But I know that's probably against the rules.
Yes, it's against the rules.
Right.
Well, It was
yeah.
it was Team Green. It was Team
Team
Green.
Green,
It came in number 1 again,
Yeah.
and they won the airplane tickets. So
And I almost expected Team Green, just like Dan said, to say the tickets need to go to the boys to go see their
Wow.
mother. I don't know
Who
why I
knows?
thought
Who
that.
knows? Maybe after the show they'll do that. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't know because we've heard.
Well, they're
after-
going to move to Florida and everybody's in
Yes.
Florida.
Yeah, everybody's in Florida.
It was all over Twitter. Like,
Yeah.
I know,
Boys
we
need to
were
move.
tweeting back and forth.
Yeah, get those boys to Florida.
The
Absolutely.
Twitterverse thinks they need to live.
To live in
Sure
Florida.
does. So Team Black comes in second.
Yeah.
And then we have to sit there while they're like, and of course, as we said at the top of this show, Team Blue got that 3rd strike, and you could just see on their faces. And the other team members were like,
Yeah.
They all were said one of the ladies said something about she wanted everybody to go to day 10.
Day 10.
I can't remember who said it. But
Yeah, and
that
that would,
was
in an
nice.
ideal world, that would be great. But then they'd have to take the race part off a relative race. I mean, it would. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if any scenario where all 4 could go unless they could figure out.
Not if in a mathematical universe. You can't do that.
Nope, you can't. You can't unless they did something where no team got a strike
right.
on one of the days, and I don't know how they could do it, but. So it was sad, and you could tell they were sad, but the little clips that they do afterwards, they were
so sweet.
They are sweet and talking
Peace
about
out.
peace out. Yeah. And so, yeah, absolutely. And
was
how
cute.
grateful they were to be able to, they kept saying, we found our mom. We found
Yeah.
her.
Like,
The one silver lining. See, I'm going to talk over you now, Laura.
That's
Go
cool.
ahead.
The one silver lining for the boys is that because they don't have to make it to Colorado, they can spend as much time as they want to in the morning.
That's
they,
right.
They don't have to have their
Absolutely.
bags packed. They can just take as much
Yeah.
time as they want to with their mom.
With your mom.
And figure
Unless
out where
they
need
say,
to-
pack now, here's your ticket, get out of here. I don't know how
Right.
quickly they have the
Yeah.
plane tickets to make them leave, but you're right. They
Right.
can stay there until they have to go.
Right.
So, yep, that
At
is
least a few hours. At least a few hours. I think
right.
I
At
would
least a few
guess.
hours. And so, yeah, Dan, so, they tell him pretty quickly, they get a text message about where they're going to go for day 10, but they gave him the coordinates.
Coordinates.
Yes, coordinates.
Right.
And it turned out to be, they said, right above Denver.
Mhm.
So how would the twins, I mean, is it literally the next day when they film it?
Oh, I have no idea.
Because
I
the
really-
twins are all the way in Florida.
Florida. Yeah.
Well,
They're
what
gonna
other
Film
team?
What?
Team
Are they-
Black was like 1,000 miles away. And,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Team
one of the
Red's in
teams-
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And so I
Or
don't know.
are they just flying them all?
They might just fly them there.
I think they
One's
would
in
have to fly
Chattanooga.
them.
The black team's in Chattanooga because they were in Nashville the days that I
Right.
couldn't do it. Because I'm thinking that's only an hour and a half from me.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I know.
I know. Now you know how I felt when they were,
Yeah.
in Conway.
So So
Next to
Cheri, and so
Yeah.
explain to me, this is only my second season I've
Okay.
watched. What does a day 10 with 3 teams look like?
Well,
Ooh.
they'll have all these challenges, and they just each will have to do the challenges.
Are
Yeah.
they like the challenges we've seen? Or are they bigger?
It depends. Sometimes.
Well, did y'all see the picture? And I think it's Team Black, and there's big things on the ground. Looks like they're kind of running up a hill. Did
Oh,
you guys
gosh.
see that?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like one year it was a real mental puzzle
Mhm.
solving thing.
Mhm.
You had
Oh,
all these clues
remember
you had
the
to solve it.
historical stuff.
And then they did the historical one that time.
Yeah.
They're walking
And I
around.
loved that.
But then,
Yeah.
I thought
but
that
then there was
great.
the one on the Dude Ranch where they had to
Oh.
climb like this 20-foot or
And the
40-foot
cars?
high rock.
Yeah. Yeah, and then
so
last
could
year
all
they had
be
to-
physical
Car
or
racing.
Yeah,
mental.
last year it was
Yeah.
car racing. So you just never know. They're all different. Each season it's been different. So whatever they choose, just
But
all
it will be a
three-
challenge, Melissa. Yeah.
and they do from time to time, they have brought in the relatives to be part of
To help.
to
Yeah.
help. So
One relative.
from each team.
Oh,
Sometimes
that'd be a
we've
big
done it,
fight
not
with the
every time.
Willis family. Can you see that? They all want to come.
Who's going to go and help? So who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? So
Well, if we can get Dan on, we really need to tell him that one of the games that they need to do in the next couple of seasons needs to include GenFriends.
No, we need to invent the game for them to do it. And they can call it the Gen Friend game.
There you go. I think that would be great.
That would be hysterical. Let's work on something.
We will.
Oh, yeah.
Let's work
I
on
really
something.
liked in the early first or second season, the faces. That was do you remember that one? I know Melissa didn't see it, but
No.
it was all these historical figures and they were in somewhere like downtown Philadelphia or something, and you had to match the faces.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And they kind of did a rendition of that one this year.
With the costumes.
we could have them like go into a library or an archive, and they can have like a
Ooh.
treasure hunt inside there.
Well, no, the rooms.
Find the
Wait,
pictures.
what do they call
Find
those
the pictures of
rooms?
us.
Escape room.
What do you call those rooms?
Escape
you go in and you have
Oh, an
to
escape room.
We could go
Oh,
to
yeah.
Learn to thread the microfilm.
Yeah, but we
Hey,
have
there
one in
you go, Laura.
Charlottesville. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're really looking forward to something that we come up with, right?
Do it in the
You
family
never
history.
know.
That's so funny. You guys are hysterical. We should
What do
though.
you call
That's
those rooms, Dan? Did you say
Escape
it?
rooms.
Escape
room.
room.
Yes, yes.
funny.
I did two of them.
GenFriends.
Hilarious.
Oh, we should do a brick wall room. Find your relative.
But they're not genealogists.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so funny.
If a Gen
could
friend to
always
help you
pick an
over the brick
ancestor.
wall.
Yeah, there we go.
There
Get
you
a Gen friend to help you over the brick wall.
Hey, there you
I
go.
love that. That's
Yeah.
hysterically funny. You guys are so great. I cannot believe that we're almost to day 10.
I know.
Have our
It's
winner,
crazy.
and it is. It's crazy. I am grateful that they're getting ready to film season 8 and that they're doing the casting call for season 9. So I mean,
Really glad to hear that they're still they're staying with the looking for a biological parent storylines or
Right.
quests. I
Although-
don't know what word you'd like to use, but
right.
Looking for
Although
family.
they have had some wonderful storylines like Joe and Jerica, where they weren't looking for biological parents, but the connections that those two
Oh,
made
yeah.
as
Mhm.
brother and sister. I mean, they got to hear their grandfather's voice for the first time singing. I mean, there were so many wonderful things that they found, even though they knew who their biological parents were. So
right. I just say it's,
Yeah.
I think in genealogy for years,
Mhm.
like adoptive genealogy was kind of pushed off to the side. And I like the fact that they've done this embracing of both the adoptive
Oh, yeah.
and the biological
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
um, sides.
This season has been wonderful for that. Wonderful for that. So they've made me cry several times because of that. So does anybody have any last minute things they want to say before we say goodbye? And I think we did a good job of covering the show. And like I said, we will get
Yeah.
further in
What
depth.
would we have done if we'd gone in depth with the Team Blue?
See,
We'd
I
be
know.
going for an hour.
That's why maybe it's a good thing that they couldn't come on tonight, and we'll have our special edition. So
Yes.
I hope y'all will look forward to that.
Yeah.
We can't wait to be able to speak to them and ask questions. Maybe if you're watching this one when it comes out, in a couple of days and you hear that we're going to talk to the boys, if there's some questions you want us to ask, please put it in the chat and we will ask those questions for you. So
That's a great idea.
Really looking forward to talking to them. So with that, we will say goodnight and we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.